Hi, I am Mary Howard, and I'm excited to share with you today AI enhanced Canva. We're going to craft some creative content using Canva. If you'd like to follow me on my social media channels, you can see that I am on X at Mrs. Howard 118, Instagram at Using Your Smarticles, TikTok, where I share a lot of tips. It's Mary Howard 118. And of course, if you have questions, you can certainly email me at yoursmarticles@gmail.com. Let's get started. So, our session goals for today, we're going to look at a few little tips when it comes to Canva. The main one we're going to look at is bulk create feature, which opens the door to so many different things that you can do with Canva. And then we're going to look at the AI integration that Canva now has. So we can ignite and infuse your classroom and your libraries with Canva. One thing I hope you notice as we go along here is this QR code does lead to this set of slides. So if you want any of the features, if you want to be able to go back and see how things are done, you can certainly pop back into this slide deck. So if you are new to Canva and you have not experienced Canva, this page is for you. This is just a basic way that you can get on Canva, how you can build yourself an account, where to find the website, the basics of what Canva is, which in a nutshell, it is a design platform, and then where to learn more. One of the things that Canva has that's quite wonderful is they have a large suite of supportive materials on their website. So if you want to learn more about Canva, you want to become a Canva educator, or you just want to do some of their tutorials, I've given you a link there. So we're going to get into the nitty gritty. We're going to start off by looking at some of my favorite design tips when working with Canva. And so what I'm sharing with you on my screen here are 7 different things that I use frequently when I'm working with Canva. And I'm going to show you how to use each one of these tools. So we have position, nudge, color matching, duplicating, positioning, background remover, spacing, and then a series of shortcuts that you can use when you're putting new elements onto your screen. So let's get started with our first skill, and that's the positioning skill. I use this one frequently when I'm working with my Canvas slides because people don't often realize that the information on their slides is actually layered. So when you want to do something related to position, you're going to click on that element. So I'm clicking on this AI icon here. And what I can do to this element is I can click on the word position in the upper right hand corner, and I can move it either backward or forward on my design. So if I click on position, you'll see a panel open up on the left of your screen. That panel shows you the different layers that icons or images can go to. If I click backward, you're going to see that my little icon is going to move behind the rectangle that it's in front of. Same thing applies. If I move it forward, it's going to move it back in front. Often when I'm working with my students with different designs, they struggle with this. They don't understand why one element or graphic is covering up another. And that's all simply because you need to make sure you're positioning them either backward or forward or to the front or to the back so that they can be viewed correctly on your screen. The next little design element that I want to look at with you is the nudging feature. You can use the arrow keys to move an element 1 pixel at a time. And people don't often realize this. Sometimes they struggle with their mouse or a touchpad or their cursor trying to move an icon along to the right spot. Well, if you just use the left, right, up, down arrow keys, it is much easier at times to move an image exactly where you want it. So, clicking the left button is going to move it to the left. Clicking the down button is going to move it a little bit down. Clicking the right button is going to move it to the right. And clicking the up button is going to move it up. So obviously it eliminates any option to move things diagonally, but I do find that this is really super helpful when I want to nudge items into place. So next we're going to look at the color matching tool. So pretend on this image that I no longer want this word AI enhanced to be a different color. So you start by selecting the text that you want to change the color of, or you can even do the same thing with an element. Once you've selected the text or the element, you're going to go up to where you choose its color. So in the case of this text, I'm going to choose this A with the rainbow color beneath it. By clicking on that, it's going to open up my color choices. But what I want to do is I want to get the text to match some other color that's on my page. So in order to do that, I'm going to click the color wheel, where it's kind of like a rainbow wheel. And then I'm going to click so I can add a new color. So by clicking on that, if I go down to where it shows the eyedropper, I'm going to pick up that eyedropper because the reason for that is I can use the eyedropper to select any color on the page and assign that color to the text that I'm trying to change. So by clicking on that eyedropper, you're going to see kind of like a magnifying glass. You can drag that magnifying glass over your creation and it's going to look at the colors pixel by pixel. And if you click on the color that you like, it will then make your new text. It'll make your text the new color that you want. Exact match of color. So by clicking on that one little pixel, I can then go back to my original text, and you'll see it has now changed the words AI enhanced into the matching blue that matches that robot. Our next tool is the duplicate tool, and it's quick and simple, but it's also extremely useful. So when you're ready to duplicate something, a lot of us fall back to the copy and paste and don't realize that it's not necessary. So for this case, I'm going to try to duplicate these little connectors here. So I'm going to click on the item, and then if I use Control D on my keyboard, it's a quick little shortcut that allows me to simply duplicate that item. It'll layer it slightly over the top of the previous item. I can then drag it and drop it into place. While we already looked at nudging for moving things around our screen, sometimes we want to be more specific in the way we line things up. We want them perfectly aligned. So we're going to look at some positioning and alignment things that are built into Canva. In this case, I'd like to line up these little icons on the left here. So by clicking on one of the icons and then holding down the Shift key, I can click on several of them at the same time. So I'm going to click on one, hold Shift, click on the next one, keep Shift held, and I'm going to click on the third one. Because my goal here is I'd like all three of these items to be perfectly aligned. Once I have all of them selected, I'm going to click on the word position. Clicking on position is going to open up a panel of choices that allows you to pick exactly how you want these items to be lined up. And as you can see here, you can choose top, middle, bottom, left, center, or right as ways things can align. In the case of my three icons here, I want them all lined up so that the blue end of them is lined up. So that would be considered lining them up to the right. So I'm going to click on that, and you'll see how all three of them will then jump into alignment to the right. So they all are lined up in a straight line on the right-hand side. We've now arrived at the infamous BG remover, which stands for background remover, a much needed enhancement to Canva and just an enhancement to graphic design in general. And BG remover or background remover does just that. It uses artificial intelligence to analyze an icon or something to remove the background from it so that it becomes a transparent object. And as you can see here, I had this Canva logo here that I wanted to make transparent in the background and just leave the Canva behind so it would look better on my screen. So by clicking on my item and then clicking BG remover, it analyzes the item and then it removes the background so that it'll look better on the screen. So I've had a lot of luck recently getting ChatGPT to generate anchor charts for me using specific prompts. And then I've been taking those anchor charts and I've been bringing them into Canva. One of the things I don't love about the anchor charts is that they often have this beige or colored background that I don't want. So when I bring them into Canva from ChatGPT and I click on the BG remover, you can see how it does such a great job of removing the background so that I have a nice, clean, sharp anchor chart created by ChatGPT. And let me point out that the anchor charts that you can get through ChatGPT are decent, but they're not perfect. And so what I've been doing is figuring out some ways that we can edit them. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner where it says thought bubble. That's incorrect. So what do I do in Canva? I put a box over the words that I don't want, then I add a text box to it, and I have been using the Arial Nova font to get a very similar font to what I've been seeing in the ChatGPT anchor charts. And then I just type in what I want it to say. The last mini skill I want to look at before we start crafting some creative content with Canva is spacing. So you'll see on my screen here that it has my name and my school district, and it's a little bit spaced out vertically too far apart. So you click your text and then you click up here where it shows this vertical arrow. This vertical arrow represents the vertical spacing in these lines. So if I adjust the line spacing on all of this text, it can squeeze it closer together or it can stretch it further apart. The same thing applies for the lettering. If you slide the letter spacing bar closer together, it's going to make all of the letters in the word squeeze a little bit closer together. And then the same thing, if you stretch it apart or slide it to the right, the lettering will stretch apart. And it's really helpful when we're trying to squeeze things into tight spaces or just align them perfectly on our page. And last but not least, I want to talk quickly about the shortcut keys. There are dozens and dozens of Canva shortcut keys. These four are my four favorite. When you're on any Canva document and you want a circle element to appear, just type the letter C. Same thing applies for a rectangle. Hit an R, you get a rectangle. Hit an L, you get a line. And hit a T, and you get a text box. These are the four I use most frequently when I'm doing Canva designs. Okay, we're going to now do a little bit more heavy lifting, and we're going to look at the bulk create feature on Canva. Within Canva. This feature is wonderful because it allows you to bulk create quantities of items based on the templates that Canva has available or based on the template of your own design. For the project that I'm going to share today, we're going to look at making a series of task cards where each one has a different word on it, but they're created by actually bulk uploading all of the words directly onto the cards. So a project like this actually starts outside of Canva because you need to make a spreadsheet with a list of all of the names. So for mine, what we were doing was we were playing a game with our keyword being the word ecstatic. And I needed a list of words that were related to the word ecstatic. I used ChatGPT to help me out. So ChatGPT generated me a list of a whole bunch of synonyms. I then took those synonyms and I put them in a spreadsheet, as you can see here on the screen. Now, that spreadsheet had 4 columns, and the reason for that is because there are 4 task cards on the template, as you just saw, that I'm going to be using. Once you've populated your spreadsheet with all of the words or all of the terms or all of the names or whatever it is you plan on bulk uploading, you then download it by going File, Download, CSV. So you're going to download that file because our next step is to import that into Canva for this bulk create task. Once you have your data downloaded, you need to go over to Canva and find the bulk create tool. Do that by going to the apps section on the left-hand side and then search for bulk create. You can see the icon here. Click on it to get started. Now that I've opened the bulk create app, I now need to connect my CSV file to the bulk create app in order to upload all of those terms. Next, we need to connect the data. We do that by clicking the 3 dots next to each term and select the word connect data. Then connect the word that you want in the spot. Repeat that for every term on your cards. Once you have all the data connected, you can click Generate Design, and what you'll see is all of the terms that were on that spreadsheet are now all on separate task cards. Using bulk create really excites me because it allows us to do so many things in such a short period of time once we master the skill. There are endless possibilities of things that you can do with the templates in Canva and using the bulk create tool to blend them together. Anything from name tags to task cards to flashcards, inspirational messages, bulk create certificates, all sorts of things. So I encourage you to give that a try. One of my favorite things that I was able to do with the bulk create feature was create my entire set of slides for my entire school year, 180 of them. And the way I did that was first I used ChatGPT to help me out a little bit by creating an inspirational message, 180 of them, 180 warm-ups, 180 jokes of the day, and then actually generating every single day of the week, Monday through Friday, the date and the day. I use the bulk create tool to then blend all of that into this one template, as you're seeing on the screen here, and then using bulk create, I made that repeating template for the entire school year. Next really exciting feature that we're seeing in Canva is the Canva AI integration. It's been growing and growing as of recently, and with the most recent update, it's the most powerful Canva AI feature yet. So Canva AI can be found right at the main home screen, and what it is a suite essentially of different AI features built right into Canva. You can find it by looking for the icon that says Canva AI. This is going to be housed on the left-hand side of your screen if you're on the home screen, or if you're on the main screen, you'll see it right up at the very top. Now, Canva AI can do an abundance of different things, and it is very much prompt generated. So if you are interested in perhaps creating some code, like coding a game, you can prompt Canva to do just that. Perhaps you're looking for Canva just to give you some design ideas or maybe make an image. Once again, you can do that in this prompt screen. And in classic Canva format, they've also given us no shortage of ideas of different types of things we can do with AI. This is just a small sample. When you get on the actual screen, you're going to see dozens and dozens of suggestions of things that you can use the new Canva AI to help you. For my next example, I want to dive more deeply into the AI image generator and ways that you can use it with students, because we did a project in my sixth grade class earlier this year that was an abundance of fun, and it's really approachable. And I've got some resources to share with you for this project. And to do it, I taught the students how to use the AI image generator. Now, the AI image generator can be found within the Elements section of a Canva template. So whatever you're working on or whatever document you create, the AI image generator is available to students there. So if they're working on their document and they select elements in the left-hand corner and they scroll down, they're going to see the AI image generator. So here's where that is located, right on the left-hand side. And so for our project, what we had the students doing is we had the students creating kind of a customized animal that they were designing. I was teaching Latin word roots at the time, and so I gave the students a list of different Latin word roots. In the process, I asked them to create kind of like this hybrid Latin animal. So what you can see on your screen is the template that I gave the students within Canva, and I designed it to look like a trading card because I wanted them to let AI generate this mythical creature, and I wanted them to put this on the trading card. And then at the bottom of the trading card, go ahead and design its habitat, its eating habits, its lifestyle, those types of things. So it was not only an AI generated art project, but at the bottom, it was a writing project for my students. And as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, all they needed to do was type in their detailed prompt to have AI generate this image. And then, of course, they could regenerate it as they wanted. Or if you see on the bottom of the screen, they could also pick the style that the image would be created in. This opened up a world of creativity with these students. As you can see, their projects turned out really, really amazing. And I have to point out the one in the middle because it is a fan favorite. That was a frog chicken hybrid, which the student named the Frickin'. And it was very popular and became our class mascot for the majority of the year. And if you're following along with the slide deck, the link in the slide deck is clickable and will lead to this resource. This is the complete resource that will allow students in your classroom or in your library to do this project. It includes student-facing directions telling them what to do. It also includes a list of the expectations for the written part of the project, and it contains a creature builder menu with all sorts of words that students can use to create their creatures. And finally, there is a link to the Canva template creature card so that they can use the AI tool to generate their creature and then create their own trading card. So make sure you check that out. Okay, and while the AI image generator in Canva is really powerful when you work with it in the Elements section as part of one of your documents, Dreamlabs is a separate section, and it's a little bit more of a robust AI image generator that students can use and you can use. So you can find it in the Dreamlabs section, which is in your main panel. And what I like about this is we use this for a particular project. So I was actually the one that was generating the images for my students in this case. And we used a famous, popular poem known as Casey at the Bat. And if you are interested in the lesson, it is right there downloadable. And essentially what I did for this one is I first had students listen to the poem, and I also had the students read the poem. They were then working with small groups to generate their own image just by drawing and by discussing with their group of what they felt one stanza of this poem looked like. So I had each group working with a separate stanza, doing their own illustration of that stanza. After they were finished, I then went into the Dreamlabs section of Canva and I had it generate an image based on the stanza. So I actually copied and pasted the stanza from the poem right into the AI image generator, had it generate the image, and then I passed those images out to the students who had the matching stanza. Their reactions were priceless. I then went ahead and had them do a comparison. They did a Venn diagram to compare what they drew and how they visualized it with what AI drew and how it visualized it, and of course what they had in common and what was different about them. It was a great project, and it was a great way to dive more deeply into the words that are chosen by a poet in the poem, and then how that affects our visualization. And if you are following along in the slide deck, again, I've included a resource that is downloadable. It's all of the AI generated images for each stanza of Casey at the Bat. So you can try to duplicate this lesson perhaps with your students' classroom or even in the library. The last thing we're going to look at today is Magic Studio. So Magic Studio is a suite of AI-powered tools within the Canva platform designed to help users create, scale, and automate their content creation process. So it can be found when you click in the Edit section while you're working on the document. And what does it do? Well, I'm going to show you what it does because there are several great features that can help you do a little bit more with images that you might be working with. So this is an image that I took and uploaded into Canva for us to work with today. And we're going to look at the Magic Studio tools to see how it can help me change this image. So if I click on Edit, on the left-hand side, you'll see the Magic Studio suite pop up. And you can scroll through the variety of tools that are available. The first tool we're going to look at is the Magic Expand tool. By clicking on this and clicking Whole Page, what's going to happen is my image is going to expand so that it will fill in the whole page. And it's going to use AI to imagine what the rest of this photo would have been like had it been taken at a different size. The next tool I'm going to jump over to is the Magic Eraser tool. The Magic Eraser tool is sort of like a Photoshop tool. It allows you to remove something in an image. So in this case, I want to remove this section of lichen. So by using the brush tool and clicking Erase, AI will attempt to make the change that you'd like. Granted, it's not always perfect, but in this case, it'll work for what I'm trying to accomplish. Let's click on Edit again and look at another tool. This time, we're going to look at the Magic Grab tool. Magic Grab allows you to take out a feature from your image and place it somewhere else, and perhaps paste it into another section. So for this, I'm going to take this little piece of lichen, and we're going to use Magic Grab to remove it from where it is, and then allow me to move it to the bottom so that it almost shapes that piece of lichen to look like a heart. This is now lifted and movable. And if you want to learn more about Magic Studio, I encourage you to check out the Meet Magic Studio section in the updates to Canva. Here they've provided an extensive set of resources to assist you in exploring Magic Studio, including BG Remover, Magic Animate, Magic Design, Magic Grab, Magic Media, Magic Write, Magic Size, Resize, or Switch, and then this Show and Tell option. So take some time, dig through it, and teach yourself even more about what Canva has to offer. Hopefully you learned a few new tips today watching AI and Enhance Canva, crafting creative content. I'm Mary Howard, 6th grade teacher, and I hope you follow me on social media. And of course, reach out if you have any questions.